Unit 10. Training in Sports. After completing the study of the unit, you will be able to understand the concept of talent identification and methods used for talent development in sports. Understand sports training and the different cycle used in the training process. Understand different types and methods to develop strength, endurance, and speed in sports training. And understand different types and methods to develop flexibility and coordinative ability. The word training is not a new. However, this term has been used since ancient period. Sports training, sports competition, and special diet are included in this complex process. In other words, it is a systematically planned preparation of various set of exercises. It affects a player's development directly and also enhances curiosity for success. Systematic training improves fitness of sportsmen. It is the foundation for achieving sports achievements. Special training methods are required to achieve special achievement. Weightlifting enhances strength but does not affect endurance. That's why training methods shall be adopted according to need and the objective to achieve. Meaning of sports training. Training is a process for preparation for an activity or task of a person. Sports training is a way to prepare a sports person physically, tactically, intellectually, and normally fit. It also influences each person involved in physical activities, sports or participating at different level of competition. According to Hurray, 1987, sports training is a process of development based on scientific principles through which a systematic physical efficiency, ability and guidance helps to perform at highest level and break various records. Definitions of sports training. Sports training is an educational process based on scientific principles, aimed to perform at highest level in competitions. Mathreya, 1981. Sports training is fundamental part of player training. It is a systematic process of various set of different exercises which controls an athlete's all-round development. Marbin, 1979. Sports training is a controlled and systematic process which ensures complex guiding performances, work efficiency and behavior changes techniques. Hurray, 1986. Sports training is scientific educational process to achieve excellence in sports by organized planning and guidance for sportsmen. Concept of talent identification and talent development in sports. Talent identification is the process of identifying promising young talent and accelerating its progress. Usually it is achieved by assessing a number of variables such as anthropometry, physiology, psychology, physical and motor abilities, etc. Most promising athletes are identified and selected for the future training of a particular sport. Sports Authority of India, XII, playing important role in selection and development of talented athletes. Khelo India program is also helping in selection of athletes from the grassroots level. This will help our country to work on sports field and talented athletes to achieve more in future. Importance of talent identification in sports. Talent identification helps to identify the talent at an early stage, which helps to provide best training to athletes to work on their abilities and development of motor components. Talent identification takes long-term approach and focus on large numbers of players. Various scientific methods to identify the players, such as psychological and physiological testing. Testing of motor components helps to identify the athletes and differentiate them in suitable training and sports program for specific game or sport. It helps in prediction of sports performance of an athlete. Criteria used for talent identification. Optimal training requires optimal criteria for talent identification in sports, which helps to select healthy individuals. An athlete's performance in sports depends upon many factors, such as biological traits, motor abilities, strong physiological and psychological traits. Some of the main criteria for selection of healthy individuals are: Number 1. Health. Health is an enormously necessity for selecting in any sports club, sports institution, or in any specific sports team. That's why medical examination is recommended before selecting an individual. During medical examination, physician should check all the health parameters and functioning of body. Number 2. Biometric qualities. These are also known as anthropometric measurements. It is an essential part of talent identification criteria. It includes measurement of height, weight, length of limbs. Number 3. Heredity. It is a most important biological phenomenon in sports. It is believed that children tend to inherit their parents' biological and psychological characteristics. Identification of these traits through their parents and predict the future performance is often seen in the field of sports. Number 4. Sports facilities and climate. Sometimes sports facilities and supportive climate play a restrictive role in sports. Some athlete may or may not able to perform in different weather and climatic conditions. So, it is important to identify his biological abilities as well. Number 5. The availability of specialists. Sports identification is a scientific process of selecting a talent in sports. Sometimes some sources uses more sophisticated methods for talent identification, but a normal coach is not able to go up with it. He requires cooperation of qualified personnel, sports scientists, trainers and coaches to work on the criteria to identify best talent. Introduction to sports training cycle, micro, meso, macro cycle. Sports training programs are developed through a series of training period or cycles. Periodization is the process of dividing an annual plan of an athlete into small phases. There are 3 training cycles, such as macro cycle, mesocycle, and microcycle. These all cycles are included in an annual training program for an athlete. Number 1. Microcycle. A microcycle is the smallest training period up to 7 days. Training lessons within a single microcycle are not the same. It is important to know that an aspect of recovery or regeneration must be included, no matter how hard the microcycles was planned. Number 2. Mesocycle. The term meso is derived from the Greek word mesos, which means middle. Mesocycle is a training phase in the annual training plan that contains usually of 3 to 4 microcycles. Usually mesocycle refers to the main target for particular period, i.e. anaerobic power, muscular endurance, etc. It is designed to accomplish a particular goal. Number 3. Macrocycle. The term macro is derived from the Greek word makros, which means something large in size. A microcycle is a cycle of training or series of training sessions built around a given combination of acute program variables, which include progression as well as alternating effort, heavy versus light days. It represents the phase of training with a duration of between 2 to 6 weeks or 1 to 6 microcycles. The macrocycle is the longest of the 3 cycles and typically includes 4 stages of a period-based training program. These stages could be displayed as 4 periods. Preparation. Pre-competition, optional. Competition. and transition. Preparation phase. In this phase, the main criteria are the objectives and type of training used for different parts of the training stage. The preparation phase is further broken up into general and specific preparation. An example of general preparation would be building an aerobic base for an endurance athlete, such as running on a treadmill or by working through multiple microcycles on the track. Competition phase. The competitive phase can be several competitions, which lead to the main competition. The competitive phase ends with tapering for the competition. Transition phase. The transition phase is important for psychological reasons. It is also known as a recovery period of an athlete. An amateur athlete may take a couple of months off, a few months during the off-season, while a professional athlete might take as little as 2 weeks off with active recovery. Types and method to develop. Strength. The ability of muscles to overcome resistance is called strength. Strength is the force generated by muscles of body so that person is able to do work. It is an important and essential component of physical fitness. According to Barrow and Mukherjee, ability of body or any part of body to create force is known as strength. According to B. Matt, muscular strength is a force single effort to overcome resistance. Strength of body is measured in pounds or dynes, but for a player it is an essential component. In some sports, such as football and rugby, more strength is required to reach maximum physical potential. Different types of sports require different level of strength. So, strength can be divided into following types. 1. Dynamic strength. Dynamic strength is responsible for producing various strength in body. It is also called isotonic strength. Dynamic strength is used in physical activity like pull-ups and push-ups. However, while performing such activities there is a diminishing tendency in dynamic strength, and as a result after some time muscles refuse to do work. Dynamic strength is divided into 3 categories. Maximum strength. It is ability to overcome or act against maximum resistance. It is not usually used in majority of sports. It is normally used in sports which involves heavy resistance, i.e., hammer throw, weightlifting, shot put, discus throw. In other sports, maximum strength is required for shorter duration. Example, cross position in Roman rings in gymnastics, starting and accelerating phases in sprinting events, and takeoff in long jump, high jump, triple jump, and pole vault. Explosive strength. Explosive strength is combination of strength and speed. It is the ability to overcome resistance with high speed. This type of strength is used in tackling resistance occur at high speed like shot put, pole vault, and weightlifting. Explosive strength is also used in endurance races at start and in phases. Strength is used as explosive in these events, that's why it is called explosive strength. And strength endurance. Like explosive strength, strength endurance is a combination of 2 motor abilities that involve strength and endurance. Strength endurance is the ability to overcome resistance for longer duration or to act against resistance under conditions of fatigue. Strength endurance is commonly used in long-distance running, swimming, road cycling, pole vault, combative sports. 2. Static strength. Static strength is also known as isometric strength. The force that is applied on an immovable object, stationary object. The force of contracting muscle can apply in moving an object in a prescribed distance. It is your ability to push without movement, but tension in the muscles are created. This strength is measured with the help of a dynamometer. Normally, static strength is not seen in sports. However, if weightlifter tries to lift heavy weight, it can be used for some time. Methods of improving strength: isometric, isotonic, and isokinetic. Isotonic exercises. It is come from Greek word iso means equal and tones means tone. Isotonic exercises were propounded by D. Loon in 1954. The length of muscles can be seen and are called eccentric contraction. Flexibility, strength, agility, endurance, and speed can be increased. These exercises can be performed with or without equipments. Benefits of isotonic exercise. These exercises develop strength and endurance in a sports person. These exercises increase explosive strength. These exercises are helpful for improving flexibility. These exercises can be performed with or without equipments. Isometric exercise. In Greek, iso means equal or stable and metric means measure. In that way, isometric means equal measure or no change in length of muscle. In these exercises, a group of muscles carry out tension against other groups of muscles. When these exercises are done, muscles do not change their length. They remain fixed or constant. For example, while pushing a wall, our muscles exert force while pushing, but we see that work is not done. Work done is equal to force multiplied by distance moved in direction of force. Isokinetic exercise. Isokinetic exercises are a combination of isotonic and isometric exercises. These exercises involve a specific types of muscle contraction, which is usually not applicable in sports. By fixing the number or repetition, and by reducing or increasing the speed, they can be used effectively for development of strength. Benefits of isokinetic exercises. These exercises develop strength. Isokinetic exercise helps in warming up. These exercises develop strength, endurance. Explosive strength can be enhanced. Types and methods to develop endurance. To perform an activity for a longer duration is called endurance. Endurance is the ability to resist the fatigue. Normally, it cannot be measured, but it is assessed by number of repetitions. It is also known as inner stamina force or inner strength. Definitions. According to Harry, endurance is ability to act or overcome fatigue. According to Skenbill, when a sports person feels fatigue during play, then to resist that fatigue is known as endurance. Endurance. Endurance is the ability of an organism to exert itself and remain active for a long period of time, as well as its ability to resist, withstand, recover from and have immunity to trauma, wounds or fatigue. It is usually used in aerobic or anaerobic exercise. Types of endurance, according to sports activity. Number 1. Basic endurance. It is the ability to perform movement for longer duration. It is also known as aerobic endurance. In this, large number of body muscles are involved and the activity is performed at slow pace for long duration. Basic endurance is required for activities lasting for more than 30 minutes. Number 2. General endurance. It is the ability to resist fatigue caused by different types of activities. But this type of endurance have the ability to tackle activities at slow and fast rate. These activities may be aerobic or anaerobic in nature. However, this duration is much shorter than required for basic endurance activity. For example, a long-distance runner who also performs good at football. He can sustain for long without getting fatigued. Number 3. Specific endurance. It is ability to resist the fatigue caused by a specific or particular sports activity. As the term suggests, it is a specific endurance which is caused by a particular sports activity. Their sports activities depends on combination of aerobic and anaerobic activities. The specific endurance also varies from sport to sport. For example, a cricketer endurance ability will be different from a footballer's because both games are of different intensity and duration. Types of endurance, according to duration of activity. Number 1. Speed endurance. It is the ability to resist fatigue in activities lasting up to 45 seconds. The event of 400 m. Sprint is most suitable example of speed endurance. The speed endurance is mainly dependent on power and volume of energy production. Number 2. Short-term endurance. Short-term endurance is required to tackle fatigue in sports activities to lasting from 45 seconds to 2 minutes. To tackle fatigue from fast activities, short-term endurance is needed. This endurance depends to a larger extent on strength endurance and speed endurance. The endurance need for 800-meter race is best example for short-term endurance. Number 3. Middle-term endurance. Middle-term endurance is required for sports activities, which lasts from 2 minutes to 11 minutes. It also depends on strength endurance and speed endurance but to a limited degrees. The endurance needed for 1500 m race and steeplechase race by a runner is best example of middle-term endurances. And number 4. Long-term endurance. It is required for sports activities lasting more than 11 minutes. In 5000 m and 10,000 meters cross-country race and marathon race, this endurance is required. These sports activities last from 30 minutes to hours. Continuous training method. Continuous training method is the best way to develop endurance. In this method, an exercise is performed for long duration without taking break. It is useful for football, rugby and hockey players. Marathon and cross-country races are the best example of this training method. Short continuous training method. In this, the player will keep doing exercise without any break. Quick continuous training method. In this, the player have to do exercise at more intensity and fast pace. Changing speed training method. In this method, continuous with change in pace adopted. It is good for trained athlete. It develops both aerobic and anaerobic abilities of athlete. Continuous training method. It increases glycogen in muscle and liver. It makes player more confident and determined. It makes athlete more disciplined. It increases efficiency of heart and lungs. It increases number and size of mitochondria. It improves willpower. For better results, intensity can be increased. Interval training method. In 1920, Finland resident athletic trainer Bikila introduced this method. Stress on rhythm in comparison to work and rest. German trainer Tani told that when an athlete runs at 80% of intensity, then his heart pulse would be 150 to 180. This is best recovery time for speed endurance. Advantages of interval training method. More work can be done in short time. It is more beneficial for respiratory and circulatory system as they can be trained both at same time. The athlete progress can be assessed easy. It gives better result in short duration. Athlete gets fair judgment easily. If athlete commit mistake, the coach can give immediate feedback. Athlete patience is increased. Fartlek training method. This training method is used for developing endurance. This method was introduced by great educationalist Grosta Holmer from Sweden in 1937. This method is based on cross-country race. This activity also involves lot of various exercises like frog run, one-leg run, etc. Fartlek is a Swedish word which means speed play. Using this method, heart and lungs efficiency is increased. It is a combination of continuous and interval training methods. The duration of training depends upon experience of athlete, but most probably it lasts a minimum of 45 minutes. Advantages of fartlek training method. This method is not hard due to natural conditions. In this, the athlete have choice of speed pace variation. It is good for aerobic and anaerobic fitness. Many players can participate at one time. Easy to conduct. Adaptable to athlete. Disadvantage of fartlek training method. This method is not complete in nature. There is risks of accidents. Coach could not assess athlete's performance. The athlete can lose weight during practice. Types and methods to develop speed. Meaning and definition of speed. Ability to cover maximum distance in minimum time is called speed. Speed is a component which a person does all activity. In other words, capacity to involve body parts or whole body with maximum effort is known as speed. According to Thesis and Schnobel, it is the performance prerequisites to do motor actions under given conditions, movement task external factors, individual prerequisites, in minimum time. According to Johnson and Nebin, speed is the rate at which a person can proper his body parts or bodies. According to Barrow and Murray, speed is the capacity of an individual to perform successive movement at same pattern at a fast rate. Types of speed. Number 1. Reaction ability. It is the ability to react effectively and quickly to an signal or action. This type of ability depends on coordinative abilities. That's why it is also known as coordination ability. Various types of signals as visual or tactile are used in games and sports. Reaction should be quick and accurate to signal. It is further divided into two categories. A. Simple reaction ability. It is the ability to react quickly in already determined manner to a known signal. For example, reaction of athlete at start or race is already known to athlete, start of volleyball service. B. Complex reaction action ability. It is the ability to react quickly and accurately to unexpected signal. For example, facing a ball in cricket by batsman, defending player reaction. Number 2. Acceleration ability. Acceleration ability is to achieve maximum speed from stationary position or low speed state. To attain that maximum speed, the time consumed is known as acceleration ability. Athlete takes 5 to 6 seconds to attain his maximum speed. Acceleration ability is used in all sports, especially cyclic sports events. For e.g., player standing at a starting block will take 5 to 6 seconds to attain explosive strength. technique and flexibility plays an important role in sports. Locomotor ability. It is the ability in which an athlete maintains high speed for maximum time or distance. All speed sports events are its examples like 100 m, 200 m, 400 meter, short races in swimming. Speed of endurance. It is the ability to do movements with high speed under conditions of fatigue. It normally depends upon athletes' aerobic fitness, techniques and mental strength. It depends upon lactic acid tolerance ability also. Movement of frequency. Speed repetitions is to do one action multiple times is known as movement frequency. It helps to increase speed. It normally depends on certain to CNS, central nervous system. Speed of physical movement. To do a certain work in minimal time. It is needed in sports like wrestling throwing event, jumping, running events. Methods to develop speed. Acceleration run and pace run. Speed is a component that cannot be drastically changed through training. Normally, speeding ability depends upon heredity and environment. However, CNS can hardly be affected through training, but muscular strength, flexibility, technique, motivation, concentration, and willpower are the component which can be enhanced by training. The following methods are used to develop speed. Number 1. Acceleration run. Sprinter uses his maximum speed in 50 m or 60 m sprint repetition. This is used to attain maximum speed from stationary position. Acceleration runs are based on athlete age and ability. Sprint race, 100 m, 200 m, 400 m, ability are increased by this method. Number 2. Pace run. It means running the whole distance at a constant speed. Athlete conserves his energy by reducing speed. In pace run, emphasis is given on movement to finish the race in prescribed time. So, if an athlete running 800-meter race and his best time is 1 minute 50 seconds, so he should run first 400 meter in 57 seconds. Flexibility. Definition, types and methods to improve flexibility. It is the ability of maximum range of joint. Ability of a muscle to contract and expand quickly. Flexibility is the ability to execute movements with great range of motion. It is affected by muscle length, tendon, ligament, and other factors. Flexibility is helpful in preventing injuries, improving posture, reducing lower back pain, and maintains healthy joints. Such person learn any complex physical action or activity at very fast rate. Types of flexibility. 1. Active flexibility. It is the ability to do movement without any external assistance help, example, doing stretching without partner. It is further divided into categories. 1. Static flexibility. It is normally needed by an athlete when he remains in static position, example, diving starting position, jump start position in basketball. 2. Dynamic flexibility. It is required for doing movements when an athlete is in motion. Dynamic flexibility is always less than static flexibility, e.g. somersault. Stretching exercise improves flexibility. Before doing stretching exercise, the athlete must do jogging or slow running to warming up his body so we can perform flexibility exercise with maximum range of motion. 2. Passive flexibility. It is the ability to do movements with external help, example, streeting exercises with help of partner or wall. Passive flexibility is always more in comparison to active flexibility. In fact, passive flexibility is foundation for active flexibility. Methods to improve flexibility. Number 1. Ballistic method. In ballistic method, a joint is stretched and then flexed as part of the stretching exercise. The joint is stretched to maximum range and then it is flexed rhythmically with a count. Warming up is mandatory before doing this exercise because there are chances of overstretching of the joint. Number 2. Static stretching method. It involves gradually easing into stretching position and then to hold that position. The limit of a static stretch depends upon the purpose of the exercise. Cooling down can be done at the same time as improving flexibility. Number 3. Dynamic stretching method. It consists of controlled arm movements and by swings that take you gently to limit of range of motion. Whenever the activity need dynamic movement, it is advised to perform dynamic stretching exercises. Start the movement at half of speed for a certain number of repetition and then gradually move to full speed. Proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation technique. This is called PNF technique also. This technique is normally used by the advanced and high-skilled sports person to increase flexibility abilities. It involves use of muscle contraction before stretch in an attempt to achieve maximum muscle relaxation. Types and methods to develop coordinative abilities. Coordinative abilities are those ability an individual which enable the individual to do various related activities properly as well as efficiently. Coordinative abilities are understood as relatively stabilized and generalized pattern as motor control and regulation process. This enables sportsmen to do a group of movements with better quality and effect. Mainly coordinative abilities depend on central nervous system, accuracy, rhythm, flow and consistency depend on them. In their words, coordinative ability means an ability to quickly and purposefully perform difficult spatiotemporal movement structures. Types of coordinative abilities. Number 1. Orientation ability. It is the ability to find out the position of body in time and space with respect to gravity, moving objects like ball, opponent, partner and playing field. This ability depends on functional capacity of sensory organs like eyes and sense organs etc. Visualization of movement position and motor development is required to assess equipment and moving objects. Number 2. Coupling ability. It is the ability to combine movements of different body parts for performing sports movements. This ability is very useful for all sports, but especially in team games, gymnastic and combative sports, boxing and wrestling, etc. Number 3. Reaction ability. It is the ability to react quickly in response to any signal or movement. Generally, it is categorized into types. A. Simple reaction ability. It is the ability of an individual to react fast and effectively to a predetermined known signal. For example, athlete to start in a race. B. Complex reaction ability. It is ability to react immediately or quickly and accurately to unexpected signals. In this, the player does not know when and which signal he has to respond. For example, tackling opponent in baseball and football. Number 4. Balance ability. It is the ability to maintain balance during complete body movement and regain quickly after balance disturbing movements. It is ability to control body's position, either in stationary position or while dynamic position, e.g. water skiing or performing on balancing beam. This type of ability is used generally in all kind of sports. Number 5. Rhythm ability. Rhythm ability is vital in gymnastics, figure skating and synchronized swimming. It is the ability to observe or perceive the rhythm of a movement and to do movement with required rhythm. In gymnastics and figure skating, the sports person has to observe an external rhythm, given in form of sound, music. Number 6. Adaptation ability. It is the ability to adjust to movement effectively on basis of anticipation of situation. Sudden change in movement are expected in games and sports. These sudden changes can be voluntarily, which can be sudden but not predetermined. In this kind of situation, changes are expected or may be sudden. In other words, it is ability to solve motor task effectively in spite of changed or changing situation. And number 7. Differentiation ability. It is the ability to achieve a high degrees of accuracy and economy of separate body movements and movement phase in a motor action. The high level to this ability depends upon experience and skilled motor development. For example, a gymnast keep body near to movement and still change the position of body. Characteristics of coordinate ability are: the quality of speed depends on coordinative ability and help to develop speed. Coordinative abilities coordinate technique and performance of an athlete. Learning of skill and its visual presentation depends on one's coordinative abilities. Importance of coordinate ability. Coordinative ability is very essential for a player and sport. The athlete excels in games and sports on basis of coordinate abilities. Sports skills and movement quality depends on coordinative abilities. Rhythmic and synchronized movement are gift or technical sports like gymnastics. Motor skills in sports are learned through coordinative abilities. Coordinate abilities help to increase level of sports. Technique and tactical skills requires in coordinative abilities.